Hi guys, today is April 14, 2020. Futures are higher and looks like it's going to be a good day on the market because China exports fell in March, but not as much as expected. So that was good news. And plus Dr. Fauci said that the curve is steepening for COVID-19. So people are very optimistic. But in general, I think this rally is induced by Fed because Fed is buying bonds and buying fixed assets in tremendous amounts, and they recently announced another $2 trillion program to buy the bonds. So, and as you know, when you buy bonds, when a lot of people buying bonds, the yield on those bonds go down. So people are more interested in stocks than bonds at this point. So they're moving money into stocks. And actually, I'm pretty worried about the inflation at this point. So we'll see what happens, but looks like it's going to be a positive opening. And let's jump to S&P 500, stock symbol SPY. So SPY, as I said, that is opening higher a little bit, and in general, SPY to me is very expensive, and it's trading about at 21, 22 PE, and usually it trades around 15 to 17 PE, which is the normal ratio. So to me, it's very expensive. I'm very careful, but still, I'm looking for pockets of opportunities in general, and sometimes I find them, sometimes I'm not. So by the way, if you wanna see what I'm trading and to see details of my trades pretty much on a daily basis and my portfolio, you can check out the Patreon link in the description of this video or any other video. Okay, so let's jump to corporate news. JP Morgan. Okay, so some of the banks reported, including JP Morgan. JP Morgan reported not so good numbers. Profits sunk 70% because they allocated $6.8 billion for credit losses, such as credit card losses and loan losses. And I mean, in general, the earnings were not that horrible, but it was not that good. So I'm not sure why stock is opening higher, but because of everything is opening higher, JP Morgan is opening higher. And of course, JP Morgan is paying pretty good dividends, so people like the stock. But the earnings were alarming to me in general. I mean, they beat on net interest income, which is in general, this is how much they make on deposits. So, for example, if you deposit your money into the bank and they pay you 0.5%, they just turn around and loan that money to other entities at like 3, 4, 5, 6%. So that spread is the net interest income. So they beat on that. So, but in general, allocated a lot of amounts on credit losses and credit card losses. So I didn't like the earnings of JP Morgan. So it shoes. Wells Fargo, actually the same thing. They allocated a little bit less, $3.1 billion. They allocated for credit losses, and they beat on revenue. They, as far as I see, they beat on our earnings actually as expected, but also not so hot earnings. But I like it better than JPM. And Bank of America is about to report tomorrow, I think, and Goldman Sachs as well, followed by that. So speaking of Bank of America, UAL actually got the loan, $250 million term loan from Bank of America. And in general, airlines are not bad place to start buying in general, because they're pretty low in my opinion. But also in a separate note, government said that they will require to repay 30% of the loans they loan to airlines. So for example, if I loan you $100, I will repay, you have to repay like $30. So that's what they're doing with airlines. But at the same time, they require airlines to issue them warrants equal to 10% of the loan. That means that they will take stakes in the airlines, and those stakes are, for example, in American Airlines, they will take 3% stake, so they will have to issue more shares, American Airlines, basically, to give it to government in response to giving them loans. Okay, and this stake is UAL is about 2.3%, and Delta Airlines is about 1%, JetBlue, JBLU 1.3%, and LUV is 0.6%. So in general, I like Delta the most, and low 20s. I think it's a pretty good buy, and LUV is actually is not bad as well. The American Airlines is the most exposed and has the most debt, so it's a little bit risky. But the airlines are going in tandem as any other group. So if everything will go up, American Airlines will also go up. So, but in general, Delta, LUV. Those are my picks. Okay, Tesla is upgraded by Credit Suisse this morning. Credit Suisse said that the Tesla competitively better positioned. Okay, so Tesla is higher, trading low 700s, and it's a little bit steep to me. It tells the truth. I mean, I like Tesla and I own Tesla, but to buy it low 700s, that's a little bit too expensive to me. So I would hold on buying Tesla at these prices just because it's a little bit expensive in this environment, and I would like it to buy a little bit lower. Okay, so Deere Group was a Citigroup reduced price target to $155, and in general, I'm not a big fan of Deere, and I'm not a big fan of, for example, Caterpillar, another big industrial. But at the right price, I would be interested to buy Deere or Caterpillar. But I don't know if I want to buy a Deere here. Okay, ROKU is jumping this morning, and ROKU said they added 3 million new users. They saw the surge, 49% surge from last year in revenue, and stock is jumping about 10% pre-market. And I think I actually like ROKU, and because ROKU is the place to be right now, because people are watching TV sitting at home, and I think this is the good stock to buy in this environment. But I wouldn't buy it at the open. Let it drop a little bit at the open, and then you can jump into this. And in the same space, Zoom Communications, Zoom Video. Okay, Zoom Video was upgraded. Actually, Cantor Fitzgerald initiates coverage on the Zoom Video. Was overweight, with $150 price target. It's a little bit expensive to me, Zoom Video at $150, but even though it's trading pre-market $141, I would like it to come down a little bit, because don't forget that there is a big overhang on Zoom Video on its security and privacy issues. So it's a little bit too steep for me to buy at 141. Okay, but in general, I like it. MU was downgraded yesterday, and also Western Digital fell yesterday, and MU fell yesterday on a downgrade from Goldman Sachs. Goldman's changed its price target on MU to $49. I don't agree with that downgrade. Actually, I like MU in this environment. I think the prices for NAND memory is here to stay, and they're pretty high right now. And I would be buying MU on a pullback, and so the same as WDC. And other stocks are AMAT that I like. AMAT actually was lifted to $53 from $44 by B. Riley, and maintained neutral. But in general, I like AMAT, and of course I like AMD, but it's jumping a lot this morning and yesterday. So in general, AMD also a buy in my book, and of course I like NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a pretty good stock, artificial intelligence, really good stock in this environment. Okay, let's jump to other corporate news. J&J reported profits of $2.30 and versus $2 expected. Revenue beat lower guidance, but hiked the dividend by 6.3%. In general, this is one of my favorite pharmacy stocks, J&J. And if it comes down a little bit, I would be very interested to buy this stock. It pays pretty good dividend. In general, it works. And don't forget that they are planning to start clinical trials on COVID-19, on their COVID-19 vaccines. It's in September. BUD. Okay, BUD, Anheuser-Busch, they're cutting their dividend in half, pretty much, to ease its debt burden. In general, I like Anheuser-Busch, BUD stock symbol, because it could work well in this environment. And but on this downgrade, I think I would be a buyer for BUD. So choose, I mean, not the downgrade, but on this dividend cut, because it can go lower and you could buy it lower. Okay, Apple. Apple said that they shipped 2.5 million phones in China in March. $279 as its opening pre-market is a little bit too steep for me to buy Apple, to tell the truth, because we still don't know how this is going to reflect Apple and how this outbreak is going to really hurt Apple. So I'm not sure if I want to buy Apple at $280 in the coming recession, as we are going to have recession. So wait for this. In general, I like Apple, of course, but I would wait for Apple to come down. Okay, so BTI, British Tobacco. That had some bad news, and it's reported to be under criminal investigation for sanctions breaches. Well, somebody says there's a report on criminal investigation, and you don't want to buy this company. So you want to wait until details come in about this. So Disney said that they struck a $5 billion unsecured debt agreement. Not sure it was which bank, but in general they did. And I like Disney, but under $100 I would be more comfortable to buy Disney. And I'll give you another spec. RDHL, okay, Red Hill Biopharma. That stock is jumping pre-market, and it was jumping yesterday. And they reported that they have their treatment showed improvement in patients for coronavirus. So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, this is very suspicious spec in my opinion, but who knows? It could be a good day trade, a good swing trade. And one more stock I'll give you, and is Genpact. Is a professional services company. It was upgraded by JPM to overweight, and price target 39. I think it's a pretty good buy. Okay, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and I'll see you tomorrow.